I'm Amy Rice, and I'm an artist living and working in Minneapolis. I'm also represented by Groveland Gallery in Minneapolis. That's right behind the Walker Art Center, and I've been represented by them for 6 years. My work is based primarily in printmaking techniques, although mostly I make original art. So I start with printmaking techniques, like for example, this is a Goko print, and a Goko is a tiny screen printing machine that was made in the 1980s in Japan. But the interesting thing about them is that they, like when you make a screen, the day that you make a screen, you can make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the same thing, of the same print. But the next day, the screen is broken. You can't really use it anymore. So I end up with just tons of the same thing. So my show currently at Confluence Gallery is called Swoop. There it is. And a swoop is a gathering of sandhill cranes, and I'm running out of all the materials to make Goko prints. And so I thought, what is a good subject matter that I could make 1 billion of them, and I could continue to use 1 billion of them through the years. And I have a flower farm in central Wisconsin, and the sandhill cranes visit us. And so sandhill cranes was the answer. So I just have I just have piles of sandhill cranes. At the Confluence Gallery, there's one human in the entire show, and that person is in a canoe, and there are swans. And the rest is all animals and landscapes, and they are all animals that we either have on our flower farm, with the exception of a great egret. And so that piece is actually a diptych. It's a cupcake Cosmo and a great egret. And if you see the work, the reason I put them together is the photo of the great egret. It looks like a ballerina, and it reminded me of a Cosmo, specifically a cupcake Cosmo, and made me just think about nature and how patterns repeat themselves. And I like to explore that in art, and it turned out particularly well, I think, in this situation. These are 13-line ground squirrels, and there's also, here's some like very, very little 13-line ground squirrels, because I have them on my flower farm, and I just adore them. They're ground dwelling. They make shallow little tunnels under the ground, and then they just pop up, kind of like prairie dogs, but they're very, very little. And they're curious and they're friendly. So when I was delivering the work to the Confluence Gallery, a 13-line ground squirrel ran out in front of me, and I was like, oh, well, this is the place for my art.